What's up everyone, Chance here with Real Sim Gear. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Reality XP for your GNS430 and your GNS530. This is assuming that you've already watched our unboxing and setup video for each of these pieces of hardware. And if you haven't, go check that out. But let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so assuming that you set everything up correctly, we're going to break this down into 4 easy steps. Step 1 is to purchase the Reality XP software for $35 from realityxp.com. Step 2 is to load up X-Plane and activate the Reality XP plugin. Step 3 is to close X-Plane so we can install the Real Sim Gear plugin, which removes the bezel around the Reality XP GNS430 or 530 or whatever you have. And then step 4 is to load up X-Plane one last time so we can drag the screens over onto our hardware, and then we will run a test. So go and head over to reality-xp.com, and then you're going to click on store right here and product catalog. Now go slow here. This part can get tricky. You want to make sure that you're purchasing it for the correct software, X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator, and also for the correct piece of hardware. So right here, you can see that these are products for Prepared or Flight Simulator, which is Microsoft Flight Simulator. And then down here, you see that these are products for X-Plane or Windows. Now that would all be straightforward if we just clicked on one of these. We need to do both. So I'll click the GNS530, but then it kind of populates again the Microsoft Flight Simulator stuff down here. Actually, just a quick correction. I say here Microsoft Flight Simulator, which implies Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 or the future 2024. But this Flight Simulator X or Flight Simulator 10 thing is an older dead sim platform, which is not the same as Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 or 2024. So to be clear, Reality XP is not compatible with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 or 2024. All right, sorry about that. Let's get back to it. So just make sure when you're clicking on one of these, you're clicking on the one that's for X-Plane, since that's what this video is about. So we need to do 2 things here. We need to download this special coupon. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now it says to download a 50% coupon for both of them. However, actually I found that there's no way to get that 50% coupon to work based off of how their installer works. So it's really silly. I wish they would spend a little more time on their user interface and user experience, but this is not Real Sim Gear software. It's Reality XP. However, they do have a great, almost exact menu system. So it's kind of our best option. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this download 30% special coupon, even though I need to buy both. And that's going to get me a zip folder up here. And so if I open that zip folder up, and if you don't have this open, you can hover your mouse over the taskbar, right click on your file explorer, and then click on file explorer, and then that will pull that up. And then you can click on downloads to pull up all your downloads. And so what I downloaded was the coupon. I need to unzip it first. And so right here, see it's a .zip folder. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to click extract all. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and extract it to the same place. I'm not gonna change anything to that downloads folder, and I'll click extract. Okay, now that I have my coupon extracted out of that zip folder, I can go ahead and download the e-commerce installer. And I'm gonna download the e-commerce installer for this 530, the one that I'm purchasing, and X-Plane 12, which is what I'm using. If you have X-Plane 11, this works for that too. So clicking on download the e-commerce installer, that's gonna take a second to download. And I'm also going to download the e-commerce installer for the 430 since I want it to work for both of them. Okay, now that I have both the Reality XP download for the 430 and the 530, I'm going to go ahead and run both and use the coupon for each. So let's start off with the 430 first. I'm going to open this thing up. You may get some type of prevention from Windows, depending on what type of security software you have that says don't run this. And so this is what mine looks like. Hopefully you can see it. I don't know if the screen recording is going to pick it up, but basically it says Windows protected your PC. This Microsoft Defender smart screen prevented an unrecognized app from starting. So this is another thing I wish Reality XP would work on, but if you see something like this, it should be rather straightforward to click on more info or click on run anyway somewhere. So if it prevented you from downloading it, if it prevented you from installing it like it's doing right now for me, just try to find a way to get it to run anyway. Trust me, I've used this 100 times, so just go ahead and click run anyway. Okay, and then once I click run, it's gonna pull something like this up. It says, before you begin, make sure you are connected to the internet. So this doesn't hurt. Just go ahead and click test connection. We're now logging you into the server to test connection. That's okay. It's gonna say connecting. Now it says my connection failed. So maybe it's because that Defender wall happened. So I'm gonna click cancel. And then I'm just going to try to rerun it. I failed twice on this thing. So even though I'm directly connected to super fast internet, it failed twice. So what I did to get it to work, I'm not sure if it was truly fixed it. It said you failed, and I said okay. And then what I did was I just clicked continue anyway. So there was no anyway, but it just said continue. So I clicked continue, that brought me to this thing. I clicked on this computer, I hit continue again, this notice popped up, and then what I did right here is I just clicked exit. And then I opened it up again after doing that, and then I clicked test connection, and then it worked. So like it did just now. So I don't know if it just had some type of weird barrier. I just had to click through a couple screens to get it to connect or something. But anyway, that's what I did. So leave a comment below if you have some other issue. So maybe I can pin it to the top. And if other people are experiencing your same issue, they can just look in the comments. So connection's good. Gonna click continue for this computer, gonna click OK. And so right here it says 50 bucks. We don't wanna pay 50 bucks. We wanna use that coupon. So I'm gonna click on coupon, and then I'm gonna click yes. And so now I'm gonna find my coupon. And so essentially I'm gonna go to my downloads. Okay, and so it should auto-populate in your downloads. And it's this RXP thing right here, and make sure it's not the zip folder. So I'm gonna open that up, and then I'm gonna click on the coupon right here. So this is the Reality XP 2020 coupon. This is that 30% off one. Now it says the coupon you selected contains the following information, save 30%, and it has some end date. They're pretty much always running that. So I'll click OK, and now it's $35. Great. Now you have an option to log in here. So to Flight One login, you have an option to create a login there. Totally up to you. Not 100% required, but then you're going to have to click here to fill out your information. Okay. Once that's all filled out, then you'll fill out your payment details, and then you'll go ahead and click here for secure purchase. And then once that's purchased, you're going to get a prompt to install the Reality XP plugin. I've already installed this, so I'm going to click here to reinstall, and I'm just going to select I agree. So, and then right here, it's going to make me put in my log information for that Flight One account. So this is one of those reasons why I recommend making one of those Flight One logins and then writing it down and putting it in a safe place so you know where to access it, because it would suck to forget this password because they may not help you. All right, so I'm going to click on validate, and then valid registration. Great. And so I'm just going to go through the prompts here, click OK. We'll now extract your application to Reality XP. Would you like to automatically run the setup program afterwards? I'm going to click yes. There's a pop-up here that says, do you want this app to make changes? I'm going to go ahead and click yes. I'm going to click I accept. Next. This should be the same for you on the regular install. Right here, it's got the 430, 530, some info. I'm going to click next. Which software are we updating? I have 11 and 12. I'll just go ahead and update both. The path for that, sure. And then select the path for the X-Plane 12. It didn't auto-populate, so I got to select it myself. I'll click local disk C. I'll click X-Plane 12, and then I'll click OK. That's where I have mine installed. Hopefully your X-Plane 12 folder is in a very similar place. Select your X-Plane 12 folder, click next. So then it's going to say, okay, do you want to use this alternate aviation database? If you want it the full thing, or you only want runways over 4,000 feet, I'm just going to select the full thing. I don't want to create a desktop shortcut for Reality XP, so that's totally up to you. I don't want to open the user's manual. I don't want to subscribe to product updates and notifications. Check whether this is the most recent installer. I don't care about that. I'm going to click next, and then I'll click install. So that's just going to take a second, and then we're going to have to rinse and repeat that process for the GNS530. I know it's kind of a pain. There you go, completing the Reality XP Garmin GNS V2 X-Plane setup wizard, finish to exit setup. Cool, that's done. So now let's run it for the 530, and we'll just do all that same stuff again. So it's blocking me from downloading it. I'm gonna click run anyway. I'm going to test my connection. I'd be interested to see if it worked this time. Test failed. All right, let's try that thing together here. So I'm just gonna click OK. I'll click continue, OK, and then I'll exit, and then I'll reopen the installer and see if that works. I'll test the connection again. We'll click yes, and the test passed. I guess that's all I have to do. Maybe yours is different. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, click continue, click OK, and then I don't want to pay 50 bucks. I want the coupon. I wish it would let me use the 50% off coupon. But I'll open this up, my file explorer, and I'll click on my coupon folder, and I'll click on the coupon, and then that's going to make it $35 for me. I have already paid for it, so you're gonna have to put in your information or log into your Flight One account so it auto-populates, put in your payment details, click here to see your purchase, and then it will prompt you through an install like it's prompting me. So I'm just going to kind of fast forward through that exact same setup, and then we'll move on to step 2, which is to load up X-Plane and activate the Reality XP plugin. Okay, cool. That's all done. I'm going to now load up X-Plane and activate the plugin for each of those. Okay, and so when I load up, one of the first things I like to do is go to this settings tab right here and change my display settings. Now, in the last video, when I was setting up the 430 and the 530, for some reason, Xplane changed my resolution on my monitor. This is a 4K monitor up here, and it changed the resolution because in this resolution section, it had it set to some, I think it was like a 2K monitor or something like that. And so what I did was I changed it to default monitor settings, and now it's not screwing with me anymore. It's not changing how this looks. And so now it's just gonna be easier to place my screens and stuff, whereas last time I had to work around it a little bit. So cool, I'm gonna click on new flight. We're gonna use a 172 November Garmin like we use in the course, loading up at Montgomery on GA6 spot, clear weather, daytime, start flight. Okay, awesome. So I just loaded up and then it had this 430 Reality XP window load up, but then it had the default 530 window pull up. I'm just gonna exit out of both of these. So if you see the white bar up here, then you can just hit close. If you don't see the white bar up here, hover your mouse over the top right. There should be a couple of squares that pop up, a couple of very hard to see white squares. You'll click on that, that'll make the white bar pull up, and then you'll exit out. And so what I want to do is I want to just click on plugins up here. So I'm gonna hover my mouse over the top left, click on plugins, and I would come down to Reality XP GNS. So it says GNS because this is a GNS430 and a GNS530. So I'm gonna click on GNS1, and GNS1 is referring to like COM1. And so whatever's on the top. So the top one I have here is the 530. And so see how this is already selected? And so I'm gonna unselect this, and then I'll go back into plugins, and then I'm gonna make sure that I select the 530. So the 530W, which is the one that I have in the top. I want GNS1 to be the 530 because I want that to be COM1. All right, makes sense? So I'll click on 530. Okay, now that I've clicked on that, I'm gonna come over to Reality XP GNS again, hover over GNS1, and then I'm gonna come down here to pop out window. So that's gonna give me the pop out window. I'm gonna scroll down, populate it on my bottom screen here, and I'm gonna bring it up to here. Now, two things here. If you don't see it, you can hit Alt on your keyboard and then press Tab, and that's gonna pull up all the windows that you have up right now. I know it looks like I have a billion. And then you will find the GNS530. And so go ahead and click on it, and that should populate it. And then just look around on your screens. Maybe it's on your 430, 530 on any of your other screens. I have 5 screens technically with my 3 plus these 2. So that's 1. And then 2, you'll see it has a bezel. And so what we need to do is we need to remove this bezel by installing the Real Sim Gear plugin, which we're gonna do in just a second. But I wanna first activate both the 530 and the 430. So I've activated the 530. I'm gonna come back up to plugins. I'm gonna hover over Reality XP GNS. I'm gonna come down to GNS2, and I'm gonna select GNS430 now. Now that I've selected it, I need to go back up to plugins, Reality XP GNS, GNS2, and then I'm gonna select pop out window. Okay, that should populate it somewhere. It looks like it's over on my 530. So I'm going to grab this, and what you can do is you could just maximize it on your 530 if you want. Okay, that's gonna have a white bar there and the bezel. It's all right, we're gonna remove it in a little bit. And then why don't I just do the same for this guy? So I'm gonna put it over on this screen here. I should get rid of this doohickey here. And then I'm gonna hit maximize there. Cool. And really quick, I actually forgot something here that may or may not be default for you. So let's triple check it. So basically you're gonna wanna come back up to this top left menu here, click on plugins, find your Reality XP hardware again, and then carefully hover over to settings. And you click on settings, and then you're gonna scroll down under this gauge options category, and then you're gonna find use simulator GPS commands. So you want to make sure that is selected. It may or may not be already selected for you. If it is not selected, make sure you click on it so it is selected. Click on accept the changes, and then go ahead and close it out. Now that should change it for all of your Reality XP hardware, the GNS1, GNS2, or if you're doing GTN, GTN1, GTN2. But if you're running into issues, maybe check the one that you're having issues with and ensure that this use simulator GPS commands thing is working, okay? All right, sorry about that. Let's get back to it. Okay, and so now that I have the 530 and the 430 placed, they are now activated. And now when I close Xplane and then run the Real Sim Gear plugin, it's going to remove the bezel. So I'll show you how to do that now. So come up to File at the top left. I'm gonna click on Quit. I'm gonna quit. Then you're gonna go to realsimgear.com. This is the exact same thing that we did in the previous video where we downloaded the Real Sim Gear plugin to get to work initially. But we're gonna rerun that plugin to remove the bezel around that Reality XP software. Okay, so go over to Support, click on Downloads, click on Downloads for Xplane, click on Xplane 11/12 plugin installer. That's going to install the plugin. Now, if you already have that installed, you don't have to do what I just did again, but I'll go ahead and run that once it's installed. It'll ask me on a screen that you can't see here. It says, do you want to allow this app to make changes? So just click yes. And then we're just going to go through the prompts. Next, I agree. We're going to click on everything that we have installed, the GNS430, the GNS530, all other RealSim Gear hardware. If you clicked on all of them, it's not going to hurt anything. All right. Then we're going to click next. And we want to install an X-Plane 12, yes. So I'll click install. And then here comes that prompt for Reality XP. In the last video, I said, just don't worry about it. And so what this thing is doing is it's saying like, hey, do you want us to remove the bezel for any Reality XP software that you have? So that's definitely what we want to do. It says, if you're using Reality XP, would you like to search for all aircraft with Reality XP GNS or GTN installed and update the configuration files for each of them? So do you want us to remove the bezel, bro, is what we're asking you there. Click on yes. And then we'll click finish. Now that bezel is removed and we can go ahead and load up X-Plane one more time and then drag the screens over if they're not in the correct place. Click on new flight, the 172 November Garmin that we give you inside of Flight Sim Pro, which we'll talk about a little bit. If you want to learn how to use your sim to prep for your real world flight training, we'll click on start. So as soon as this loads up, we should see the bezel's removed, but we also want to make sure that there's no dreaded white bar on that thing. So we'll see what populates. Okay, so it did populate with a white bar. That's totally fine. We're going to use the technique that we used in the previous video to get rid of that white bar. Super easy. So make sure your display settings are configured like we showed you in the previous video. Essentially, just put your RealSim Gear hardware to the bottom right of your main monitor, and then we're going to expand this out, and I'm going to drag it over onto the 530 in the bottom corner. I'm going to line up that bottom right corner there. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll this up until I can't see the white bar anymore. Just the 1 pixel above there. All right, and now I'm going to scroll this all the way over until I can't see it on this screen, and it is barely on the edge of the GNS530. And then I can click OK. Looks like we have to swap our COM1, COM2. That's okay. So then now I'll just click enter on both of these. And the GNS430 has a white bar, so I'm going to get rid of that too. So I'm going to come over here. Let's just grab the whole thing, shall we? Let's move it over here so I can work with it. Make it expanded. Scroll it. Maybe a little skinnier so it's easier to work with. Push it over the 530 screen onto the 430 screen. Line up the bottom right corner, and looks like it's still on the 530 screen. Let me expand that over to my main screen. That's just where I like it. I could do it on the 530 screen, but whatever. Scroll it up until I can no longer see the white bar. I want the exact pixel. Okay, now scroll this over the 530 screen until you can no longer see it on the 530 screen, and it is barely on the edge of the 430 screen. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, cool. So when I loaded it up again with this new Reality XP software, the 530 is controlling the 430 screen and the 430 is controlling the 530 screen. Super, super easy fix. Always want to come up to this plugins menu right here. If something like this is happening, click on the RealSim Gear device interface, click on connected hardware. Then it's going to show you all the connected hardware from RealSim Gear that you have set up right now. And then right here it says the GNS530 is COM2 and the 430 is COM1. But I want the 530, since it's on top, to be COM1, and I want the 430, since it's on the bottom, to be COM2. So I'll just click on COM1, and I'll click on COM2. And now as I make adjustments to the 530, it's actually happening on the 530, and adjustments on the 430, it's actually happening on the 430. And then, for example, let's say I wanted to listen to the ATIS for Montgomery, which is 126.9er. So I'll just twist over 126.9, hit the swap button. I'm listening to COM1. If I was in COM2 on this GMA350 audio panel, then I would hit this bottom mic 1 button to get it to transfer over to COM1, and then now I can hear the ATIS information. Or if you're working with Pilot Edge and you're listening to like a live air traffic controller who's on the other side there. So that is basically it for setting up your Reality XP. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I tried to include all the issues that I ran into in real time. So hopefully the workarounds that I did to get past some of those menu systems worked for you. If you do have any questions though, you can email us at info@realsimgear.com and we'll get you some help as soon as we possibly can. I really, really hope you enjoy the 430 and the 530 setup like this, or if you're working with a GTN 650 or 750, it is the exact same thing as the real airplane. And so, you know, practicing at home like this, you're going to walk up to your first flight lesson maybe one day, and you're going to wow your instructor with how much you know about the 430 and the 530 and how you're able to navigate the menu system. Let me give you maybe just one quick tip on the 430, 530 now that we have the full menu system loaded up. So if you take that big knob and you click to the right 3 clicks, 1, 2, 3, you're gonna get to this nearest airport section right here. And then if you click in on the cursor on this knob right here, okay, that's gonna highlight the first thing, the first airport. And then you take the big knob to scroll. So if I take the big knob and let's say I'm departing out of Montgomery, which we are, and I'm flying over to, I don't know, Palomar Airport. So I'm gonna keep going until I see Palomar Airport, which is KCRQ. And then I'm gonna hit this direct to enter. So the direct to button is basically saying like, hey, we've selected a direct to waypoint. The direct to waypoint is KCRQ. Would you like to activate this? And I hit enter on KCRQ, since that's being highlighted right now. I hit enter and it's like, yep, that's the airport. And now do you want to activate it? And then I'll click bingo. So now if I zoom in, top one to zoom in, if I zoom in, there is a straight line. Let me change my heading here so you can see. So I'll find myself, we'll click on that because it's only showing me what's in front of me and I'm facing south and I'm trying to fly north. So if I change my heading on my instructor station, but just by hitting this I button here, hit I on the keyboard to pull up your instructor station if you don't have a dedicated screen to it. But if you hit I, you click on your little airplane icon and then you can move your heading around. Now you see that I am drawing a straight line from Montgomery Airport all the way to KCRQ, which is Palomar Airport, just up the way there. That's exactly how it is in the real airplane. Hope you enjoy that. But if you want to learn more on how to use your flight simulator to prepare for real-world flight training, check out our online course called Flight Sim Pro. Inside the course, we teach you how to use your flight simulator to prepare for your private pilot certificate, and depending on when you're watching this, your instrument rating. We show you how to use your checklist to start, taxi, takeoff, level off, descend, land, everything I would teach one of my students as I'm a CFII with over 3,000 flight hours. And I've jam-packed this course with all the pro tips that I've learned over the last 7 years of flying, which I know will save you a ton of time and a ton of headache that I had to go through in my flight training to learn it all. If you want to sneak peek inside the course, you can click on the link below to watch our video on how to start a Cessna 172, or head over to flightsimpro.com to learn more. But anyway, that wraps it up for this video. Let us know if you need anything else, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.